We need to eat the baby.
I have no respect for women who voted for Trump. Okay? I think so poorly of them, and the reason why.
Hey, welcome to U.S. News. This is in Hong Kong, so it's kind of global, but it reflects back to the story of what LeBron James and NBA, how they're cowering to China. They will kick people out of their own stands in America and silence their free speech because China asked them to, and they will. And it's disgusting, disgraceful, and Hong Kong demonstrators trample and burn LeBron James jersey. Good for you. Should burn them all. Demonstrators in Hong Kong began burning their LeBron James jerseys and merchandise after the NBA star made comments that were critical of Daryl Morey and cited the negatives of free speech. There's no negatives to free speech. Pro-democracy demonstrators in Hong Kong did not take kindly to James' comments, scolding a pro-democracy tweet by Hudson Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, and slamming the American tradition of free speech as something being negative, all because the NBA has lost money over its deals in China. The protesters chanted support for Morey and denounced James on Tuesday, according to ESPN. Hong Kong protesters burned LeBron James jerseys. Never side with the communists. Never. As China seeks to tighten its grip on the once free Hong Kong, protesters have flooded the streets to protect their freedoms. But last week, when Rockets GM Murray tweeted his support for the pro-democracy movement in the former British protectorate, the NBA sidled to China's side and castigated Murray for his support of freedom. Protesters in Hong Kong burned LeBron jerseys. Protesters gathered on courts amid Hong Kong's high-rise buildings to vent their anger and set fire to LeBron James' jersey after the Lakers star comment about free speech. By Monday, LA Lakers star LeBron James jumped feet first into the controversy by scolding Murray for supporting those seeking freedom and even attacking Murray's right to free speech. Yes, we do have the freedom of speech, James said on Monday, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others, when you only think about yourself. This just tells me LeBron James is stupid. He doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. James went on to scold Morey for tweeting his support for Hong Kong's demonstrators despite the harm it may have done to the NBA's big money deals with the Chinese. So many people could have been harmed, James complained, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. Just be careful what we tweet and what we say and what we do. Even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, it can be a lot of negatives that come with it. Oh my, you are so stupid. Yeah, stick to basketball, James. You are not intelligent. Like, that's just stuff anybody on the street would say because it's just called wordplay to make you sound smart when you're not. But supporters of the pro-democracy demonstrators slammed James. James was trying, to take a side on the China side, which is like ridiculous, Aaron Lee told ESPN. He was being honest financially. Financial is money. Simple as that. LeBron James stands for money, period. Watch Hong Kong protesters burn LeBron James jerseys in the middle of the streets for comments James made against Rocket owner Daryl Morey. People are angry, James Lowe added. Oh, yeah, LeBron, you're just an idiot, man. Well, go become a citizen in China and tell me what you can and can't do. Hey, welcome back. So, with the continuance on keeping up with the opioid stuff, the jury selection begins in opioid trial despite delay request. Look at those bag of pills. Wow, look at that. When I look at that, I don't know. That's just disgusting. The pharma corporations. Oh, don't even get me started. Okay. Cleveland. Jury selection began Wednesday in the first federal trial over the opioid epidemic despite a last-minute request from lawyers to delay it because of news reports on a settlement offer. Excuse me. 2 Ohio counties claim drug companies that made, distributed, and sold prescription painkillers engaged in a deadly conspiracy that has inflicted massive damage on their communities and created a public nuisance that cost the counties hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And it does more damage than that. We're talking about the lives of families. It's just a ripple effect of damage when you're dealing with addiction and drugs like this. The legal situation became a bit more complicated Wednesday as multiple defendants asked Judge Dan Polster to delay the trial after reports that 3 big drug distributors were offering a total of $18 billion over 18 years to settle the suits set for trial, and some 2,000 others. 2 people with knowledge of the talks confirmed to the Associated Press that the offer has been made. They spoke on the condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to disclose details from ongoing talks. The offer was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. The lawyers argued that jurors who read or saw any of the coverage would be tainted while learning of the massive amount of money possibly being discussed. Polster denied the motion and said he didn't believe many of the potential jurors would have been exposed to the stories. He said he will question members of the jury pool to determine whether they are aware of the coverage. There is no way to avoid this, Polster said. Something leaked out. I can't control leaks, and we're going forward. Polster said a delay would have pushed the trial into next year. Wow. No, we need to get this over with. Only a fool would start a trial in Cleveland in January or February, Polster said. If a settlement is reached for any of the defendants before or even during the trial, it would end their part of the case, but it's not clear whether the trial would proceed against other companies if settled. It is expected to take up 3 days for attorneys to Summit and Cuyahoga counties, home to Akron and Cleveland, 6 drug companies to select a 12-person jury. Prospective jurors from 9 Northeast Ohio counties were mailed a 19-page questionnaire that asked whether they were people of their lives who used, abused, or overdosed on opioids. Those with close connections to the crisis are expected to be excluded from serving on the jury. The pool does not include people from Summit County, which is a separate subdistrict in the 40-county Northern District of Ohio and has its own federal courthouse. Trial arguments are scheduled to begin Monday. The trial is considered a bellwether because it could help shape how future trials are conducted or possibly spur the global settlement sought by Polster, who has overseen more than 2,000 lawsuits filed by local governments and other entities against drug companies. The federal lawsuits have been merged into a class action known as multi-district litigation. Polster has made clear since being assigned to the litigation that he wanted communities dealing with the effects of the opioid crisis to get help as soon as possible. Counting prescription drugs and illegal ones such as heroin and illicitly made fentanyl, opioids have been blamed for more than 400,000 deaths in the U.S. since 2000. 5 drug manufacturers, including Purdue Pharma, have used settlements or bankruptcy filings to be dismissed from the trial, winnowing the list of defendants to 6: generic drug makers Actavis and Cephalon, which are both now owned by Teva. The distributors AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, Henry Schein, and McKesson, and the pharmacy chain Walgreens, but only in its role as a distributor. The company says they've complied with the law and supplied only drugs that doctors prescribed. The trial itself is expected to last about 7 weeks. All right. Well, I've been following closely. I'll keep following it. But there's more than one story when it comes to everything that deals with the opioid crap, because you've got like the Purdue and Sackler. I think it wasn't Sackler that owned Purdue, maybe. They created the OxyContin, knowing that it was addictive and saying that it wasn't addictive and lying about most of all its stuff. And I'll have to do it. I have a video project that I've been working on for a few months now, but anyways, there's just it's about the family that and the corporations, but it's also about the doctors' roles, and it's very complicated. And most of the deaths, from like heroin and fentanyl, that are mixed in. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, no face. I'm not feeling good, but I think this is the last U.S. story for today, and then I think I may or may not do single stories, depending on how it goes. So, prosecutors suspect man of illegally detaining Dutch family for nearly a decade. That's a long time. So, this is in the Netherlands. I know it's not U.S. news, but there's really a lot I have for tomorrow. But prosecutors say they are charging a 58-year-old man who was arrested in connection with the discovery of a Dutch family who lived largely isolated from the outside world for 9 years. Prosecutors announced Wednesday on Twitter that the man, whose identity was not released, is suspected in involvement in deprivation of liberty and harming the health of others. The man was scheduled to appear before an investigating judge on Thursday. Prosecutors released no further details. 6 members of the family were discovered this week living in what local mayor Roger de Groot called improvised rooms on a farm in the Netherlands' rural east. They were discovered after one family member raised the alarm. Unconfirmed reports said the family had withdrawn from society, fearing the end of the world. Oh my gosh. This is, I don't know if you've ever seen those TV shows where you get the crazy man who takes a group of people saying that and tricking them and believing that it's the end of the world, Armageddon. And they live there thinking that nobody else is alive. I wonder how much this happens. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Like, subscribe, share, donate, and converse in the comments. And I'll see you guys later.